Hello everyone, this is Owen from Even Star and I am doing my Facebook Live today 3 hours earlier than I said I was going to do it, and so I apologise if you miss the live because of that, but you'll certainly be able to catch all the good bits on the video recording. Decided to do that because I had a check and it looks like all my fans are going to bed earlier. Maybe everybody is exhausted with the silly season, and looks like 9 p.m. is not a good time for me to do this, so I thought it suits me better to do it earlier, so here I am. So welcome. So I cannot believe we're in December already, and I wanted to do a few sessions on the silly season and on my survival tips for the silly season, how to get through this time of year without completely losing the plot on looking after yourself, because the fact is, if we don't look after ourselves, then we end up getting sick, we end up being unable to enjoy ourselves, and it's just not going to work out to be a very fun time of year. And it's meant to be the most wonderful time of year, as the song tells us. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about one of my 5 aspects of well-being, of 5-star well-being, which is food. And it's certainly something that's a highlight of the silly season for most people. It is something that a lot of us focus on because we make special food for this time of year. And a lot of the time we're so busy as well that it's really difficult to make sure that we are eating well. So I thought it was worthwhile doing something about that to give you my top 3 tips for how to manage that and get through this time of year, being able to enjoy it. And also the problem is, if we really push ourselves and don't look after ourselves during this time, and then generally most people have a bit of a rest period after Christmas, and you end up being sick because your body is finally going, okay, finally I've got a rest, and that immune system is so depleted that you can't fight off the illness that's been pushed down by all the stress for so long. So first of all, with food, obviously it can be a time for overindulgence, and I don't want to be a Scrooge about it. Let's do that. You know, this is a special time of year when people get together with people they love. You should be able to enjoy yourself. So that's not what this is about. But starvation is one of the top killers worldwide, and unfortunately, even people who are very overweight can actually be starving themselves to death because they are not providing their bodies with the energy it needs, the nutrition it needs to survive and thrive. So we don't want to be in that situation where we're basically starving our body of nutrients because we're so busy and crazy and rushing from one thing to the other. So that's the first point I wanted to make. So having to feed yourself or your family in a hurry is something that can become a bit tricky. And I guess what the main point I wanted to make is be really careful. Obviously, we all know that fast foods are not good for us, but the reason for that is that they've got no nutritional value to them, and they generally have a lot of additives, which are food-like substances potentially, and things that in fact your body doesn't know how to process. That increases the toxic load on your liver, and as I just mentioned before, you will end up being much, much more likely to become ill when you do actually stop. So, you know, colorings, preservatives, additives, anything you can think of that is not actually something that comes out of the earth in the food when it's grown is not something that your body is designed to actually process. So it should be something that you avoid. So I would highly encourage you to, rather than stopping at McDonald's to feed the kids on the way home from the school concert or whatever it is, then take the time to actually go home and make something, and you'll find that you've got fabulous stuff in your kitchen for a really quick meal. So my number one go-to there would be eggs. While the kids are in the shower, whip up some beautiful eggs, put some smashed avocado on toast and lots of veggie sticks on the side, and you've got a perfect meal for everybody. It's delicious, it's nutritious, and it is so, so quick. Literally, you can make that in the time that it takes you to stop at McDonald's, believe me. So other things, if even that sounds like too much effort, so a toasted sandwich, if you put, lots of vegetables, spinach, tuna in it, tomato, cheese, have that balance, that lots of different colours, always thinking about all the colours of the rainbow. Then you can, again, use whole grain bread. You've got a beautiful balanced meal, which is made in a minute or two. If even that sounds too much, then even just toast, so really good quality whole grain toast, preferably gluten-free, with a nut butter or avocado, something that's got those good fats in it, is going to be something that's really great to have if you've then got to rush off to the next thing, or get the kids to bed because it's really late. So they're my top tips for feeding your family in a hurry. The next thing I wanted to talk about was sweets. So obviously there's lots and lots of sugary treats all around at this time of year. What can we do about that? Well, the main problem with it to start with is that sugar is addictive, and we, again, the human body, just like we're not designed to process things that actually aren't food, we are not designed to process a lot of sugar. Our bodies are designed to have sugar very infrequently. Sugar is more addictive than cocaine, and the more you have, the more you want it, and it is very, very tough on your body. If you haven't seen that sugar film, I would highly encourage you to give that a watch during your holiday break. Even my 13-year-old has changed the way he talks about sugary stuff after watching that, so highly recommend. So what can you do about it? So as I said, we're designed to have it infrequently. That's our ancestral history. Ancient humans used to mainly get sugar in summer when it was available, and they'd eat lots then, because in winter hardly any food was available, let alone sugary treats, and sugary treats in those days was fruit, basically. So I would say don't contribute to the problem. So tell people very clearly you don't want a box of chocolates as your present. If you get given one, then save it for a time when you can share it with lots of other people. If you are making something, so you're the person who brings the Christmas cake into the office every year, then great, but try whenever you're making something sweet to use the natural sweeteners rather than a cane sugar. If you absolutely have to use sugar, then use Rapadura sugar, which is the least processed sugar that you can buy, and it actually still contains the vitamins and minerals and nutrients that naturally occur in cane. So use syrups, maple syrup, honey, agave syrup, even rice syrup. So all of those things are alternatives, and use less than the recipe says. Like, because we're also addicted to sugar, we're used to things being really, really sweet. We don't need it. So don't put as much in as the recipe says. I think they're my main tips for sugar. So then the next thing out of these top 3 tips on managing food during the silly season is when you're asked to bring a plate, and that's something that happens a lot at this time of year. People are getting together and sharing the catering by asking everybody to bring a plate. So be the person that brings the really healthy options. So again, so many really quick and easy things that you can bring. Again, think about the rainbow. We want produce of all different colours to be on our plate. So obviously we've got amazing fruits available in the southern hemisphere at the moment, so a fruit salad or a fruit platter. Then a salad, a savoury salad as well, is a great idea. Lots of roasted veggies, spinach, goat's cheese, nuts, toasted nuts on top. You've got an amazing balanced meal that's delicious. You're sharing your love of good food with the people that you love, that you're sharing this event with. And you also know then, if you're the person that takes that you're going to have at least one healthy thing to eat when you're there. So some other things that I would suggest, so vegetable sticks and dip, so you can make your own dips so quickly and easily as well. And then they're preservative free, because that's something that can be hard to buy in the supermarket without all those additives I spoke about before. Nuts are a great snack as well. Kale chips, really easy. You just whack the kale with a bit of oil and salt in the oven, and it's a beautiful crispy snack. Organic corn chips and organic salsa, something that my children eat truckloads of. Mini chia puddings with berries, and really all you do with that is put the chia seeds and some whatever milk you want to use in the fridge for a few hours and put a few berries on top. You've got something that looks gorgeous, tastes delicious, and is really nutritious as well. Deviled eggs or stuffed eggs, cheese, a cheese platter. At least there's some healthier options rather than just pulling, a box of sausage rolls out of your freezer. So they are my top 3 tips for feeding yourself and your family and everyone else around you well during the silly season. I'd really encourage you to try not to let food go. Food is the energy that you put into your body every day. And if you're not providing your body with the things that it needs and you are giving it things that it doesn't need, it's got so much more work to do. It's using up all that energy. And just at this time of year when we want to have as much extra energy as we can, we want to feel like we can cope with the extra load of everything that's going on, then it's even more important than normal to make sure you're eating well. If you would like any extra ideas about foods to make and use, then please contact me. And also the other thing that obviously I would like to say is that when you're trying to get through these difficult times in the year, then energy healing can be even more beneficial than normal. So if you would like to book in for an appointment, then please do that. I'll put a link in the comments below. Hope you are all surviving and thriving this December, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.